Hello everyone, this is Sidrian here, and today I'm going to be doing something very different from usual. I'm going to be doing a rating/review of Taylor Swift's new album, The Tortured Poets Department. And I am not a Swiftie, nor am I an anti-Swiftie, so I don't like Taylor Swift, but I also don't dislike Taylor Swift, so my opinion is going to be very unbiased and honest. So without further ado, let's get started. I listened to a playlist on YouTube because I don't have Spotify, so let's go. And the first song that I listened to on this playlist was Fortnite, and I'm pretty sure this was a song that pretty much everyone listened to at first because, it was really heavily advertised on social media and stuff. I saw different posts about it and stuff, and lots of shorts have it too. For coming out, only a few days ago, I think, 5,000 shorts have already used that song. So that's pretty good, honestly. But yeah, I really thought that Fortnite was overhyped on social media because I didn't really like it that much. I thought it was kind of slow and boring, and it was kind of lacking any emotion or any that I could sense. It was kind of repetitive, but at the same time, it was a little bit catchy. I'll admit that. But, the big deal about Fortnite was she did a collab with Post Malone. And I feel like he should have had a bigger role in the song. Maybe that would have made a difference. But he had, a smaller role than I thought he would. He was just, singing in the background of Taylor Swift. I thought he would get, a solo or something. So that was kind of anticlimactic. Then I listened to The Tortured Poets Department, which is the song that the album was named after. But I really feel like it should have been named after a different song because this song was not my favorite either. Even though it does fit the theme pretty well, because all of the songs are pretty poetic and tell great stories. But this one was definitely the most poetic out of all of them. It had pretty flowery, figurative language, which was really nice, and it makes sense because of the name. There were lots of outside references that I didn't understand at first, like Patti Smith and the Chelsea Hotel. But I got my friend to tell me about these. Apparently Patti Smith was a famous poet or something. And then someone else who was mentioned in the song, whose name I couldn't catch, was also a famous poet. And they both stayed at the Chelsea Hotel, which I guess was a hotel that lots of creative people stayed at. So during the song, I didn't know that, so I didn't really like it because, of course, I didn't understand it. But now that I do know that, I appreciate it more. It's kind of like when I watched Coco for the first time, I didn't know who Frida Kahlo was, so I was just sort of weirded out by that part. But then once I rewatched it and I knew who she was, it was oh, that's pretty cool. So it's kind of like that. So if you know what it is, then you're probably more inclined to enjoy it. But this one was better than Fortnite. The next one was My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. And I liked the vibes of this one because it was more of that typical mad at the boyfriend feel, which I understood. The significance was actually easy to understand without all these historical references, so that was great. And I feel like she did a pretty good job with the rhythm and the beat of this song. I thought it was better than Fortnite and The Tortured Poets Department, so it's currently first right now. Down Bad was the next one I listened to. The lyrics were kind of weird, and there was lots of cursing in the chorus, but it did have a clearer message, and it was even somewhat lyrical to an extent, but I still thought that it was worse than My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. The next one was So Long London, which I think this one was probably my favorite one, or at least it was tied for my favorite. I really liked this one. At the beginning, it had a weird church hymn humming type of beat going on, and then it transferred to sci-fi, but it had a really sweet theme at the beginning, and throughout the whole entire song, really. It had nice ambient background noise, so I loved that. It was really soothing, her tone of voice was soothing as well. And I think I actually understood the hidden meaning. And that was really nice to me because I think it was she was leaving behind London, but she was also leaving behind the people she knew there, so someone she loved, which that's pretty good. I like that. And yeah, I liked it better than My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, and pretty much all of the other songs on this list, except for the few after it. So I feel like this one's definitely one of the more stronger ones in the album, and it maybe should have started off with this one to, like, hook people in. But, yeah. But Daddy, I Love Him is the next one, and I have it tied with So Long London, because it's also really nice and upbeat, and it has the same sweet theme and tone as So Long London does. This one has really smooth rhyming, even though it has really complicated words. And it's not really relatable for me because it's more of like a forbidden love / romance. Because, of course, the dad doesn't want her to be with this guy. But for other people, I can understand that. Because, yeah, like warrior cuts, lots of forbidden romance. I personally am not into that, but I can still understand it. And, like, parental problems. My parents are pretty chill, but I know lots of people struggle with that. So, yeah. It has bad words, but it's definitely not as bad as Down Bad. The name pretty much explains itself. Down Bad has lots of cursing. But this one was also pretty long. I think this one was like 5 minutes long. But yeah, it was still good, so it was worth it. Fresh Out of the Slammer, this one was pretty interesting. It had an immediate weird, like, reverberating Wild West sound at the end. It was like, or something like that. So that was kind of strange, but it had this, like, nice country vibe to it, and it was, like, her breaking out of jail to go see her love interest, I guess. A lyric that really stood out to me, because I just wrote down random lyrics, guys. Bear with me. Now that I know better, I will never lose my baby again. That's interesting. Me trying to be a better person, that really touched my heart. And it was just pretty good. It was also tied with So Long London and But Daddy, I Love Him. Then we have Florida, who I was talking to my friend who is a Swiftie, and she said that Florida was one of her favorites in the album, but I did not really like Florida. It had, like, immediate drug reference, but it made pretty good points about, like, real life and stuff, brutal honesty, the ugly truth. So, yeah, I understood that, and I respect that. She was also singing kind of a weird voice, and she said, like, This Ain't Texas or something. So at first I thought that was a Beyonce reference because, you know, Beyonce's song Texas Hold'em came out and it has This Ain't Texas in it. But my friend was like, no, it's not a Beyonce reference. So I was like, okay. Which I wouldn't think it would be because it came out so recently and this also came out, like, a few days ago. So unless you were, like, conspiring, it couldn't have possibly been a reference. But I just thought about that. And since she was singing in a weird voice, she did this thing halfway through where, like, she sang in her normal voice, so it sounded like she was talking to two different people, which I think that was pretty good, how she did that so seamlessly. So it was still pretty good. I respect all the work that she put into it, but it was still not my personal favorite. But I can still understand why other people like it. It was worse than So Long London, but it was better than some of the others, like Down Bad. And Guilty as Sin is the next one. This one was kind of weird, but it was still okay. It had a relatively good beat. A lyric that stood out to me was, they're gonna crucify me anyway, because I was just like, dang, bro, that's kind of harsh. I say it was worse than Florida, just because Florida had, like, a good beat, to be honest. And then it was better than My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? I really liked this one because of how different it was. It had lots of country Wild West vibes as well. And then it had really good lyrics and rhyming. Like, one of the lyrics that stood out to me was, if you wanted me dead, you should have just said. Because, like, dang, bro. The technical side was pretty good. It had a good beat and a good theme. But it could have been more upbeat. Like, more, I don't know, more joyful, I guess. Happy. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? Well, you should be. That's more good rhyming. I could not express how perfect that rhyming was right there. I also feel like it could have been, like, a little bit more violent because she was, like, more of a psycho personality in that song, but I don't know. It was still great, and it was really impressive. It was better than Florida. The next one was I Can Fix Him. No, really, I Can. This one was, like, very interesting. It also said This Ain't Texas in this one, which I thought was definitely a Beyonce reference, but once again, I was wrong about that. So, yay! It had lots of, like, God and Christian references also, which, I mean, that's cool, I guess, if you're into that type of stuff. But it was also kind of, like, slow and boring. I was not a huge fan. I thought it was definitely worse than Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, because I really liked that one. Then we have LOML, which I asked my friends what this was about, and they said love of my life, but then at the end, it changes to loss of my life, because I guess going through the story of the song. I love the guitar playing at the beginning, and I will admit, Taylor Swift is a mid artist, like her songs are pretty mid, but I do think it's pretty impressive that she can sing and play the guitar at the same time. Like, I thought it was pretty good. And a lyric that really stood out to me was, "You and I go to one kiss to getting married," because, yeah, people start to get excited and then they try to fast forward things. I love how she was using rhymes differently and more than once. Like, people do one rhyme at the end of this sentence, and then one rhyme at the end of that sentence, and then just move on. But, like, I like when they do, like, 4 or 6 rhymes at a time. That's definitely more impressive, because it's always hard to do that. So, yeah, I thought this one was pretty decent. I thought it was better than Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, which I really like that song. Hey guys, sorry if my voice is a little bit different because it randomly stopped me in the middle of filming and said I had to delete some of my stuff to get more storage, so let's go. But yeah, continuing on, we have I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. At first, it had this weird background noise, and then it was like people shouting and stuff, which was like kind of distracting from Taylor Swift, the main singer, but I feel like it added a bit to the atmosphere, so that was pretty good. It definitely had a vibe of its own. It was different from all of the other songs in the album, but that was okay because some things can be a little bit special, you know? Give a little bit of variety, flair, uniqueness. It had sort of strange lyrics, but I liked the upbeat tempo. Although the rhythm of the tempo, which was a bit off, so that's kind of counterproductive, but whatever. Speaking of productivity, one of the lyrics that stood out to me was, "I cry a lot, but I am so productive." I'm like, how does that work? But then it's a song, so it doesn't have to make sense. The thing that got me, though, was there was, like, a creepy laugh at the end, which, like, triggered me. So, yeah. It was definitely worse than LOML. The World's Smallest Man, or The Smallest Man in the World. Sorry, I got that wrong. I was immediately like, whoa, because the name of the song was kind of strange, but I wasn't going to judge it for the name, okay. It was much slower and more boring, so it was kind of like Fortnite, but it picked up the pace pretty fast, but it was still not my favorite. But I mean, if you like it, sure. Opinions are opinions, everyone can have their own. It was pretty much tied with I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, for me. Then we have The Alchemy, and I was like, why is it The Alchemy and not just, like, Alchemy? But, yeah, once again, it's a song, so it doesn't have to make sense. The tempo changed pretty early on. It was, like, a very dramatic shift. The new tempo was much better than the other one, though, so that was pretty good. It had some drug references, which is fine, I guess, if you want that. But it got to be a little bit too much. Maybe not as much as Florida, but it got to be pretty bad. It was okay, though. It was better than The Smallest Man in the World. The World's Smallest Man. Whatever. I don't know. Then the last one I listened to was Clara Bow. And this one was kind of like the Tortured Poets department in the fact that I had no idea who Clara Bow was at first, so I wasn't going to understand it when I was actually listening to the song. But I asked my friend later, and I figured out that Clara Bow was, like, the person that, like, everyone looked up to at some point in time, and she was, like, really pretty. So then the next person came along who was, like, Stevie Nicks, who was also referenced in the song, and they were like, "Hey, yo, Stevie Nicks, you look like Clara Bow. Maybe you're gonna become the next Clara Bow," and I guess she did, so that's pretty cool. And then Taylor Swift referenced herself, saying that, like, she became the next Clara Bow, and then I guess the moral of the song was, like, she was afraid that someone would become the Clara Bow after her. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah. That one was better than The Alchemy, in my opinion. And now, I'm gonna show my ultimate rankings, which I don't know yet because I haven't figured out the statistics for them yet, but when I do, I will tell y'all. Adios for now. Okay guys, so here is the finished tier list. We're going to go from descending to ascending, so least favorite to favorite. First, we have number 16, Down Bad. Number 15, the first song in the album, Fortnite. Number 14, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. Number 13, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. Number 12, The Alchemy. Number 11, the title song, The Tortured Poets Department. Number 10, My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys. Number 9, Guilty as Sin. Number 8, Florida. Number 7, I Can Fix Him, No Really, I Can. Number 6, the ending song, Clara Bow. Number 5, LOML. Number 4, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. Number 3, Fresh Out of the Slammer. Number 2, the runner-up, But Daddy I Love Him. And number 1, my personal favorite, So Long London. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe so you can stay tuned. And I will see you later. I love you. Goodbye.